Hello out there, and good afternoon and good morning to all of you. My name is Gwen Purushotham, and I am presently appointed to serve as the Associate General Secretary of the Division of Ordained Ministry. As an ordained elder and member of the New England Conference, I have served as pastor of several local churches and as a district superintendent for 8 years in 2 districts. I am a member of the Board of Ordained Ministry in my annual conference and currently serving my 3rd consecutive quadrennium on the board. It is my privilege to welcome you to this webinar designed for board officers and staff. It is the first of 2 webinars leading up to the October training event, which will be held in Dallas, Texas. These training opportunities are made possible by our shared commitment to our connectional life and our connectional ministries. On behalf of the staff of GBHEM, I welcome you and thank you for your commitment to this work. We are connected. The stars on this map represent all of you. As you can see, you come from many places, and the technology allows us to share in this time together. But our faith and our work unite us. BOM. BOM is the acronym I use to refer to the Board of Ordained Ministry. Some of you call it BOM, and I suppose that would be pronounced BOM. Whatever you call it, every annual conference has one, and you are among those who have been called to serve in this ministry of inviting, enlisting, and supporting candidates for ordained and licensed ministry in the United Methodist Church. This is a sacred trust. It is a significant commitment of time and spiritual resources. It is hard work. The work of the Board of Ordained Ministry is ministry. It is not simply about ministry. It is not simply a way of getting ministry done, not simply a means to an end. It is itself a ministry. It is a way of watching over one another in love. Our assumptions about the work of the board will make all the difference in the world about how we approach it and how we relate to candidates. I believe that the work of the Board of Ordained Ministry can be a means of grace if we enter into it with the intention of caring for the ministry and for the candidates seeking to discern God's call in their lives. We are well aware that our process is not perfect. Yet, by the grace of God, we can commit ourselves to this ministry, always seeking to learn from our successes as well as our failures. If the work of the Board of Ordained Ministry is indeed a ministry of identifying and calling forth the gifts for a particular service within the church, if it is a ministry of assisting others in discerning the nature of their call to ministry, if it is a ministry of walking alongside others as they test their call, then it is a sacred calling to which you have been called. It is a ministry. I encourage you to make theological reflection on your ministry practice as a board, an intentional and integral part of your work, both individually and collectively. Keep asking yourselves how your theology about God, the church, and mission are reflected in the way you carry out your ministry. How does your practice of ministry as a board reflect what you believe? Where do you see incongruities? And how can you lessen the gap between your theology and your practice. One of the responsibilities of the Board of Ordained Ministry is to cooperate with the General Board of Higher Education in the interpretation of current legislation concerning ordained ministry. The September webinar will focus on changes in legislation about which you will want to be informed. Today's session will focus on the organization of the board. It will look at various functions of the Board of Ordained Ministry and highlight changes. We'll discuss the relationship between the District Committee and the Conference Board of Ordained Ministry, and it will review the role and responsibilities of the registrars. A valuable resource that is available to you is the Board of Ordained Ministry Handbook. You can access this resource at gbhem.org/BOM Handbook or on the GBHEM website by clicking under the heading Networking. The responsibilities of the board are spelled out from A to AA in paragraph 635.2 in the Book of Discipline. Finally, this ministry puts you in relationship with others. Don't go it alone. The Board of Ordained Ministry is part of a bigger process. Attention to the ways your work is connected to the other parts of the process will serve to strengthen your ministry. The work of the board puts you in relationship with other groups and other individuals. Ministry candidates who are pursuing steps toward ordained ministry are the most obvious, but there are many more important relationships. Your work is connected to district committees on ministry, colleagues, particularly at the time of a change of status, the bishop and the cabinet, who have to carry out a different ministry and yet with whom you must have open communication, even as you observe appropriate boundaries. Mentors who support and guide persons in the process. Provisional members who are testing their call in the context of the daily practice of ministry. Seminaries responsible for educating students to serve in the United Methodist Church. And the General Board of Higher Education and Ministry, charged with the responsibility to lead the church in inviting, equipping, and supporting faithful and effective spiritual leaders to fulfill the mission of the United Methodist Church. All of these play an important role alongside the Board of Ordained Ministry in preparing persons for licensed and ordained ministry. Again, the Board of Ordained Ministry Handbook is a valuable resource for tending these relationships. Chapter 1 lists those relationships, and several of the chapters are devoted to specific ways of maintaining these important connections.